Hi, my name is Nikki Kay, and I'm a sports host and reporter for Spectrum Networks in LA, and this is Her Table.
Now you see her.
You are magnificent!
Welcome to Her Table, the podcast that shines a spotlight on the badass women who are redefining the game. Join hosts Kate Foley and Megan Martinez as they unlock the secrets of success from the brightest female pioneers in the industry.
Welcome back to Her Table. We have another amazing episode for you today. I am so excited to have Nikki Kay on the show. Nikki is currently a sports reporter at Spectrum Networks. She covers a wide range of sports teams in Los Angeles, including the Lakers, the Dodgers, Chargers, Rams, and Galaxy.
You know, I love a girl that can wear some heels and some sneakers. She hosts just about everything. She even hosts events like the California Sports Hall of Fame and the Sports Spectacular, showcasing celebrity athletes. You could say that Nikki might just do it all.
I've heard nothing but amazing things about Nikki Kay, so I'm so excited to have her on the show. I can't wait for our listeners to learn more about Nikki's story and how she has found success in the sports world. Let's get to it. Nikki, pull up a chair at Her Table.
I feel like the odd man out here, ladies. They're both in red.
Mm-hmm.
She tried something.
Oh, you didn't get the memo?
I didn't.
You left her out of the group chat.
I feel like I should go change.
Listen, what color is this?
Okay, I'm going to go with like a burnt orange.
Oh my God, did she tell you to say that? Did she tell you to say that?
It could be the glow of these fabulous pink lights you have in here.
Oh my
too,
gosh.
the way it's just hidden.
That's
so,
funny. All right.
Yeah.
All right.
She's like, "Are you blind?" It's
Yeah,
red.
I
I'm
see
like,
that.
"That's red. That's red. You're
There's
red."
some people who go through life being colorblind and they don't know. So
Are you guys trying to tell me I'm colorblind?
There's shades to this. That's what I
Yes.
say. There's like shades.
Yeah.
It's one of those
Pantone.
colors. Yeah, it's a Pantone.
Yeah.
It can go the orange family or it can go the red family, whichever one you want to live
Versatility
in.
is key.
I'm with it. I'm with it.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I didn't get the memo, so next time we're together, please can we color coordinate
Yes,
our lives together?
absolutely.
I love it.
We'll include her next time.
I'm not wearing burnt orange. I'll wear something else. This is like a Texas, University of Texas.
Yeah,
She could go there.
like a horns
All right.
down.
Yeah.
Are you fine? No, actually, it's
It's more like Aggies. But anyway.
Aggie? Oh, yeah. Is that their rain?
yes.
Yeah.
Stop the front door.
I literally was drenched walking through the parking lot.
Oh my gosh. We look
When are
great.
my lights going to get out?
Did you just say stop the front door?
Yeah.
Stop the front. How do you stop the front door
What?
from running?
I was gonna say shut up, but then I'm trying
Yeah.
to be better about what I say because people get offended.
I know.
Yeah.
Right? Whatever. Then just don't listen. That's right.
That's crazy,
exactly.
though.
You can skip.
Exactly.
Let's be honest with
Fast
ourselves.
forward, sir.
Yeah, exactly. Bye. I wasn't talking to you anyway.
Yeah.
Have a good day. Why are you listening to our show, you weirdo? No, I'm so excited we have you on. Love it. You're a true California girl.
Absolutely.
I am an imported West Coast. I'm from North Carolina originally.
Welcome.
I know, but I like the West Coast. I'm thin-skinned now. I like to visit the cold, not stay in the cold. So I'm all for it. And I am slowly, everyone's like, when are you going to come back? I'm like, when are you going to come visit?
It's funny how people just move west
Yeah.
and can't move
back.
right.
But
And-
everyone from
yeah.
California is moving to Arizona. So can you please stop that and keep them here? 'Cause I'm
Arizona's a magical place.
It
Like,
is.
I love those desert trails and runs out there,
Yeah.
and something about like the twilight sky and
no,
the
it's
cactuses.
really pretty.
Yeah.
It's really pretty.
Yeah.
But it's interesting because in my neighborhood, we have grass and like oak trees and white picket fences.
Oh.
Like, because I don't understand the people that have rock front yards. They rake
Yes.
their yard. Like, no shit.
Yeah.
They rake their yards.
all
I'm like,
Arizona,
what is
yeah.
this guy doing? And he's out there like raking his rocks. And I'm
Raking the
like,
rocks.
what is
Yeah.
going on? Like, what are we on right now?
Yeah.
I can't. Okay, so true California girl,
Yes.
you're here covering California sports.
Yes, I grew up in Santa Barbara.
Okay.
Idyllic place. I
Yes.
didn't really realize the bubble it was until you leave the bubble, right? I went to UCLA, and then my career has taken me to, you know, when you're starting out in TV, your journey, you're told, oh, go to a local TV market in the middle of nowhere, get your reps in. And obviously this was like right around the time that digital stuff was really exploding and that people were forging paths in a digital space too. So
Right.
I didn't take that path. Instead, I went to Twin Falls, Idaho, and made $20,000 a year for my first job. you know?
Okay.
Like, so we started there. We worked our way, you know, bopped around the country, a little stop in Oklahoma City, and being back in Los Angeles, working for a network that is the home network of the teams I grew up rooting for is like,
A dream.
it's a dream come
Yeah.
true. It's
a dream.
really, and I think we all have to remind ourselves sometimes.
I'm sorry, I'm just laughing at what is going on.
We are literally in the Pacific Northwest right now. It's torrential.
Yeah.
You can hear it.
It's like a hurricane happening right
We need to
now.
go get our boats. Yeah. Your life jackets. And start doing the art.
As we're raving about the weather of why we
I
live out
know.
there.
We have 4 bottles of Tina's vodka in here. We can just crash in here until it clears.
Bunker down, baby.
Nikki, I think it's amazing because I went to high school in Boise, Idaho. My parents live in Boise, so when I saw that you were in Twin Falls, I was like, no way. I mean, that's a couple hours away.
We would go cover the Boise State games. Those were like, that was the big assignment.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I get to go to the blue turf
Yep.
and cover Boise State football. And then also it was like when my parents would come visit me, they'd fly into Boise and it'd be like my big weekend away from Twin Falls, Idaho. You know, either there or Sun Valley. So Idaho was such a beautiful, you know, easily accessible state, and people were really kind there.
Yeah, they were. I'm just curious. So now, I mean, you've had quite the journey, which is amazing. I love that you were in Idaho, you're East Coast. So what you're covering all the sports right now, but you're also doing a bunch of like stuff on the side. We were looking at your Instagram. You're covering Barbie. You're doing like surfing. Like, can you kind of tap into all that?
Yeah. So if there's one thing I have learned in this role with Spectrum, because they hired me as just a general reporter. They call it a multimedia journalist, right? You have to be versatile in terms of what stories you're able to tell. Obviously, a very hyper-local, community-based focus, but then you like can put the lens of whatever story you're telling, attach it to like bigger events going on. And so normally I do that for sports. Like, how does a Lakers Nuggets game have a local impact, or like where's the local tie there? So it's really fun. But also in this role, I've been called to do so many different things, and like adventure hosting a Barbie special was honestly
so cool.
That was like the best day of your life, because I would be living my best life.
You know what's so funny is that I was telling my parents this. I was like, out of all the things and accomplishments I've done, you know, from UCLA to like the big names I've interviewed, I have never felt more famous than sitting shotgun in a pink Corvette driving around LA dressed like Barbie. The pandemonium of people wanting to take pictures of and with the car is like, I'm glad to know that this is what it takes. Right? You know, but
I have finally made it. This is my calling in life, and I don't want to get out. So.
Yeah, and exactly. But every day at Spectrum is different, and it's an adventure. And I used to be really no, sports is my brand. Like, I only talk sports. But now I realize it's such a gift and a privilege to be able to, oh, hey, we need you in extreme weather coverage. Oh, hey, there's riots going on. Can you jump into that? And the way you see the world, and, you know, it affects who you are. So really grateful. It's not every day that I'm talking news or politics, but it keeps you sharp, right?
Yeah.
Well, and it's also just broadens your ability to kind of connect, right? Because I think one of the big things in sports we always see, and especially on the agent side, is they're humans.
Yep.
So when they see you have the ability to cover a story outside of the scope that is just on the court or on the field, it kind of puts that barrier down of like, okay, they've also been out of their setting, and allows them to connect with you of like, okay, this might be new for me, not for you, and you have the ability to kind of reach out to them as people and kind of tighten your skill of the people talking, not the athletes.
1000%. The relatability is there, and I'll tell you, like, doing 2-minute, you know, mini packages on people who overcome adversity in all walks of life has made me such a better storyteller as a sideline reporter, right? Where it's like, how do you identify meaningful storylines throughout the course of a game? How do you condense those? How do you find what people who maybe have never picked up a basketball or kicked a soccer ball in their life want to relate to, right?
Well, it's always weird, too, because I feel like you're kind of thrust into it. And did you ever go through in your career, as you started in sports and now you've had all these different opportunities, did you ever go through a moment of imposter syndrome?
Oh, I think it's still very apparent. It's real. I like to work on walking the walk. You know, talking the talk, you have to fake that confidence at all levels. But no matter what studio you're put into, what seat you're sat in, you know, whatever arena you walk into, you have to carry yourself. But there are times where I'll be live in the morning, and like, even, you know, this far into this journey, I'll call my mom after all and I'll be upset. And she'll be like, get over yourself. Nobody noticed the stumble. Nobody noticed that you might have said something, you know, that didn't really make sense.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'm like, what sentence just came out of my mouth? But you know, there is a beauty to being a perfectionist. And I'm not saying I'm obsessive compulsive about it, but there are times where it can be debilitating. And sometimes, and that's when I lean on mentors, peers in the industry. Hey, like, I'm feeling, you know, really out of place, or like I don't belong. And everyone has a story of being able to be like, well, if you feel that way, then don't show it and work through it, because you can't, that will really like bring you down.
I think you get heightened of like the constant pressure you put on yourself. And I think one thing I've always encouraged Megan lately is like, ask the people that are not in what you're doing. Ask people that have no idea whether you're hypercritical on yourself or not, what they see, because that's the regular person. Most people in the industry will pick you apart the way you'll pick yourself apart. Ask somebody who just thinks you're the coolest shit on this planet.
Right?
Like, dude, you killed that.
Call Grandma Sue. Call your best friend who doesn't know a thing about sports.
And be like, what do you think? And they're like, that was dope. And you're like, all right, cool.
And that is to be said too for, I mean, I've had you know, in this journey, every time you're frustrated or you feel like you're, you know, hitting your head on a ceiling, friends who know nothing about the ascension or the trajectory or where you want to go, they'll be like, do you realize what you're saying? Like, you were just at a Lakers game last night. Like, yourself 10 years ago would be like dying to, you know, and so like the gut check perspective, such a great call.
It's like that saying that's like the life you're complaining about is the life you were praying for. You know, and you're like 10 years ago I was like, I want to do this, and you're like, God, I have to do this again, and you have to like reframe the way that you think. But I do think in sports and in my experience, you get so numb to how cool it is. Because you're like, I do this shit every day. Great. Another arena, another hot dog, another game, another whatever. And then you take someone who isn't in that life, and it is the coolest thing in the world.
I always tell Kate all the time. I'm like, Kate, you're literally flying to Japan. You're flying to, like, what are you doing? You're like, oh, you
By the way, bring me with you next time. Thank you. You know, like, no, and it is the optimism and like the eyes wide open is something I always try to bring into every experience. But I do find myself, was that a raindrop?
I know.
Or a person.
The lightning?
Someone just fell out of the sky. The building.
But yeah, staying fresh and enthusiastic is what carries you forward too. So that is such a good point too, because it's like sometimes, I mean, spring training is one of my favorite weeks of our coverage throughout the year, and then sometimes I can be like, you know, you find yourself getting stressed out, and I'm like, whoa, gut check, girlfriend. You love it here. Let's be grateful and excited.
80 degrees. I can wear flip flops, live my best life, and people pay to come do this. See this. And I'm here getting paid to watch this. Like,
exactly. No, I very true, and really key reminder to wake up every day and be, you know, eyes wide open, clear eyes, full heart, they say.
Oh, like, okay.
I'm
Friday Night Lights. No, it's hard not to put pressure on yourself too. And like when you kind of take a step back and you're like, wow, what I've accomplished in this time, like 10 years or however long it's been. For you, are there like other women that you kind of looked up to or you kind of looked to in this industry to kind of help support you, or mentors or anything? It's so important.
Absolutely. And I mean, you've had Allie Clifton on before. She has been someone at my network who has welcomed other women to the table and created space, right? So it could be really easy when you see someone vying for, you know, any reps they can get to, you know, be territorial, and because it's hard, you know, but whether Allie or it's other women, you work for every moment you can get. And so it could be really easy to be like, I'm not gonna, you know, create that space.
Right.
But she has been excellent. She's a big sister. I get to fill in for her from time to time as the host of the Lakers, which is like, it's such a privilege. But while I'm sitting in that seat, I'm grateful for her, right? Because, and then there's a woman across the industry. Alex Curry has been a phenomenal one who, you know, when I have those moments of imposter syndrome, call her up, you know.
Girl, strap up, let's go.
Yep, you've had India on the show too, and she's just a great, you know, resource. life, determination, drive. And so I really learned that the beauty of female friendships, even if they're on social media, some of my best friends who I can relate to live across the country, and I've maybe met them once or not at all, but we can have a phone call or, DM or hype
Send
each
a
other
meme
up.
and you're like, I get it. Yep, thank you. I needed that.
Exactly. And so it has been really, I think, wonderful to see that community emerge, especially, it's like you could look and be like, how'd she get that job? Or why is she there? Instead it's like, pop off queen. And that's why this is such a cool concept, because you're sharing the stories and the voices that can really bring us together.
Well, it's always interesting too, because you hit on something that I think is, for me, really profound, which is when you get to a place where you realize I need to be doing and being for someone what I didn't have.
Yes.
Because there was a time there were not female agents. There were not that many sideline women in a place of leadership. They were being dictated to, right? Now you're like, I didn't have that. And I look at all these young girls, they're like, you have the classes I didn't have. You're in the programs I didn't have. There are these groups that you can go. That did not exist. It was like, you're the one orange cow in the room. And it's like, hi, good to see you. Okay. How do you lean back? And why is that so important for you to do?
In like one of my local stations throughout my journey, I walked into a team that was all guys, all men. And to their credit, they had been, covering all those teams for years and years. And you look around other market or TV stations in the market, mostly men. I think there's one other female reporter. And there was, I think, doubt of my capacity as a California girl arriving in this market that really didn't know much about the history and the breadth of why these teams and, operate the way they do, or the history behind it all, right? And so, like, in that moment, it's like, okay, are you going to sit there and be frustrated that these guys doubt you, or are you going to prove them wrong, right? And I think there is a little bit of both for me in that learning experience. And it's like, okay, I won't let it keep me down, but I did let it frustrate me, or, and it's funny, by the end of my time at that place, like, we were all really good friends, right? And they're some of my close confidants in the industry today. But it's those moments of like, why don't they believe in me? It's like, well, show them why they need to believe in you, right? Yeah. So that's important. And then, like, also celebrating the woman you are around is even more tremendous. It's so funny you were talking about, like, women who have had roles that, not a lot of women have held previously. And I was literally in a Pilates class, and next to me is Erin Andrews. And I'd never met her in person. And you're so in the zone when you're on the reformer. Like, oh my God, what's going on?
I'd have been freaking out. What are you talking about? I'm in the zone. I'd have been like, yep, not paying attention. Hey.
I didn't realize it was her until I heard her voice. I was like,
am I dreaming this?
Yeah. She's here. And so I made the point after class was done. I just said, I just want to say thank you. And, I'm a local reporter here, obviously not national yet, but thank you. Like, you have paved the way for so many. And it is so cool to see, like, females and women ascending to spots and occupying spaces, being the first. And hopefully that being the first woman to do this keeps,
creating doors.
Exactly. Yeah. And we don't have to say be the first anymore.
Yeah. And I love that you're like, you thanked her, because I think it's such a humbling experience, because it's so easy to be like, okay, I want to be, and that's what the whole precipice of the show is like, someone looks at you and they say, I want to be her. Well, who is her? Where did she come from? You know what I mean? I know who you are as a professional, but who are you as a person? What do you love? What were your struggles? What were your challenges? Because at the end of the day, everybody's path is different, and they're going to go into a job or a role differently. But if they can draw from something that you have not only motivated them, but you have inspired them. That's what's going to stick with them. Not just do it. It's like, let me tick some kind of box inside of you that's like, I want to be like that.
I do tell some of my friends too who, are eager for the next step or whatever. And granted, I'm always hungry for the next step, but it's like, not everyone's path is the same.
Right.
But the way you're going to get where you want to go is being authentic and being yourself, because nobody else has that, right?
Yeah.
Like, and that's what people will recognize and celebrate.
I love that. I feel like for you too, like the fact that you're covering like take a step back, like covering like the big, like LA sports, like what advice would you give like a young girl who wants to be doing that one day?
Ooh, there's so I would say, first of all, find what excites you, but also be open, right? Like, I love basketball, but I was asked to do sidelines for MLS. And I grew up playing soccer, and I was like, I haven't ever really talked soccer before, you know?
Yeah.
And I had the best couple of seasons being a sideline reporter for the LA Galaxy. And also, like, when my boss calls me, he's like, hey, are you free? Can you jump in to, like, the storm coverage we have right now? Instead of saying no, I'm like, okay, this is an opportunity to be live on television in Los Angeles, right? Like, let's do it, you know? And so being a yes girl is huge. And I would say that if you are choosing to put yourself in an arena, whatever league, whatever sport, study it, know it. And that's where my confidence comes from, is the prep work. And, you know, I've always felt like academically oriented, right? So when I have a new challenge, it's like, oh, how can we dig in? How can we read? How can we listen to podcasts, watch the shows? What are their mannerisms? Why are they talking about things like this? So that you know how to represent yourself well in a space, even if you are, you know, faking it a little bit, to have the internal confidence that comes with knowledge, I think is huge. So while you're waiting in the wings, waiting for a job, read, study, watch, you know, and then when someone does give you opportunities that even might not be in your lane or what you think you want to do, say yes, because you never know.
Yeah, I'm a big proponent of, you'll often find what you don't like before you find what you do like.
Right.
Like, you're like, yeah, it's fun, not for me. That just thing up. You know what I mean? But if you don't,
same with dating. Right?
Yeah, it's kind of like speed dating. You're like, okay, yeah, you were fun. Ding, ding, ding,
Exactly.
So you were a production assistant for a little bit. How do you feel like your experience as a production assistant might have impacted, or does it impact how you treat people, you know, support people on your staff now?
I love that. So that was my glorified title as an intern for Fox Sports West. And I was literally reorganizing like supply closets, you know, or helping navigate, like, how do we get equipment from it was Staples Center at the time, to the office in downtown LA. And I'm like, I shouldn't be driving a company car. I'm in college. I am a terrible driver. What are
the traffic sucks?
Yeah. One-way streets, which also in Boise, I would be a couple of times I drove the wrong way.
Oh, yeah, with the one-way streets. I know, they are hard in downtown.
I'm like, oh, that one stuck up on me. Why is this car coming at me? Yikes. All right. But no, I think what you're getting at is really important. Throughout my career, I've had to shoot my own live shots. I've had to shoot my own interviews. I've had to, you know, find a way to get where I wanted to go when it came to being like, oh, you want to be at the Thunder game? Like, you're going to have to shoot your own live shot tonight. Obviously, it's beautiful to have ascended past that point here in LA, but it has given me a greater gratitude for when I work with photographers, when I work with producers, to be thankful, to offer to help carry things, to give input. Hey, you know what would be really cool is if we got this shot, or hey, you know, and having had to do all levels of putting a story together, it has taught me to carry myself with like a certain level of respect for everyone. You know, A to Z on the list of people who put a show on live TV, and you never know also what people are going through, right? So just a lesson in humanity. I think that, like, sometimes in the pressure and meeting deadlines and, you know, doing what we do, it's fast-paced work, and it can be easy to be edgy and, you know, short, but reminding that, like, hey, a simple thank you or offer to help out goes a long way.
Yeah. By the way, everybody that I've, like, spoken to, like, at NFL Network, saying your praises, like, you got to meet Nikki Kay. She's the best. So, like, just a side note.
Tell them my check's in the mail.
But, like, I want to have Nikki Kay on the show. I, like, reached out to Casey, like, we got to get her on, because people are always singing your praises. So,
thank you.
Yeah.
So
you're changing lives and hearts right now.
It's raining outside.
But you cover red carpet, like, charity events. Like, can we hear about that? Because we were talking about how you she's a big stiletto girl. I'm sneakers.
Yeah.
But like you're dressing up for the red carpet. You're hosting.
I'm a heels girl too. My mom had me in like wedges at the age of 13.
Oh
you know,
my gosh.
we're a short family, so elevate,
Lengthen.
shoulders back.
Yep. Bend and snap. It's
Exactly.
Fine. Yep.
Very rare that I'm wearing loafers
So
today,
cute,
but yeah, bend and snap works every time.
Next time I need the heels.
Exactly.
Okay.
Okay.
That's all right. You can say it.
Am I thinking? Red carpets are so fun because it's an escape from like serious storytelling. And granted, everyone just wants to have fun and celebrate looking hot, right?
Yeah.
And so it was my first like little moment because UCLA doesn't have a journalism program, so everything I did there was like, okay, we're coming to football practice with. My best friend was an actress, and she'd hold my mini cam, and I'd like interview my guy friends on the football team walking up and like, how was practice today? Right. So I'd put together this reel, and I submitted for like a red carpet host contest when I was a senior in school, and all my friends voted for me, and I got to do it, and it was so fun. But I learned that like there's an art to how you ask questions to everyone, and like you want to get the best answers, and then you want to get repetitive answers. So it's like, hey, what are we wearing today? Or like, why are you here celebrating this cause? So it's just a really lighthearted situation. It can get a little chaotic with wrangling.
Yeah.
Like, oh my God, over here, like come talk to me.
Yeah.
But I've had so much fun on carpets. I want to go more. Like everyone's always like, entertainment industry.
I love it.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So when there is a cool intersection between sports and Hollywood, which there is a lot in LA,
Right.
I'm always like first hand up at my station. I did the Ted Lasso season 2 premiere. Oh my gosh.
That's so
Can we
cool.
come tag along? We'll carry
Yeah.
your bag
Girls,
next time.
please, why don't we
We're gonna
just
bring
all
her
bring
table with us. Yeah, little mini mics.
mini mics
Yeah.
and be like, yep, girl power, one word, you got it.
I am all for
Yes.
it.
Yeah.
No, it's always interesting because I think sometimes, for athletes, for them to actually have to be the human side.
Yep.
On a carpet is the human side.
Yep.
On a court, they're comfortable, they're confident, they do this shit every day. They know what to do. They know what you're going to ask.
Yep.
And I think on a red carpet, it's like gloves off. You can ask anything. And that is the best time because it's like, well, I'm a person.
Yep.
And you're a little uncomfortable in that suit, aren't you?
Yep.
Yeah, you're not. You ties a little tight tonight, isn't it? Yeah. You can't breathe in that dress, can you? No, me either, girl.
Sure not. Won't be sitting down later.
I had some pants on earlier, and I was
Yeah.
like, these are standing pants, not sitting pants.
Yeah.
We're going to change these. Love them, beautiful, but these are standers, not sitters.
True story.
I know. Unbutton at the table sometimes, Here we
Oh,
go.
yeah.
It's so true, but then
Yeah.
dudes don't have to do that.
No.
It's so annoying.
Yeah.
Rude.
You can just wear like jeans and a
Yep.
button-down shirt and different shoes, and it's like,
The audacity.
I know, right? Who do they think they are?
whatever. It's fine. That's why I'm like, you just fine. Yes, okay, sure. Moving
Yeah.
on. Like, my team's always like, okay, you're always like to the nines. I'm like, yeah, that's me. That's what I like.
Exactly.
Authentically me.
Elevate, baby.
Yeah. No, there's a guy on my staff who loves white t-shirts.
Yeah.
And so I'm trying to remind him that like, yes, college is great, but then when we
Yes.
show up in a professional setting, like as you grow, so should your wardrobe.
And one day when it clicks, it's really going to click with him.
I
feel like
please.
Right?
I hope.
just start getting him some like Lulu polos.
Oh.
That
The
it's a way-
hybrid. It's
yeah.
the hybrid.
Yeah,
It's a
like
way to ease into
transition, yeah.
functional, elevated work leisure.
Yeah.
I don't know what we're saying now.
Be you and be comfortable,
Yeah.
but just like keep leveling up. Just
Yeah.
keep coming along.
Exactly.
Just come along for it. But I think it's so important. So how do you, because you're super fashionable, how do you walk us through? Because everyone wants to know. They always find it interesting.
The
Do you
clothes?
dress yourself? Do you have a stylist? Like what goes on? Because I know the boys have a stylist.
Yes,
over there.
yes, I do dress myself.
Okay.
I would love to hit the point where I walk into a network studio and there's a stylist who, you don't have to take the clothes home because like dressing for TV it can be fun, and especially now that everyone's trendy, like and but you also have to be like, okay, is this too short? Is this too revealing? Is
So
this,
true.
and
So true.
is this form fitting? Is it flattering? It's so hard because I'll get like some blazer set sometimes, and then you watch it on air, and I'm like, I look like the bag lady, like what? And, and so I have learned, and I early on, when you're not making great money, and trying to piece together whatever you can, or living off of like, also Target dress is great, like
It just comes from anywhere.
Just doing what, exactly. It can come from anywhere. You find your like basics that you feel comfortable and good in, and then there have been times where I've gotten viewer emails, not so much in LA because like it's more progressive here, but in Twin Falls, Idaho, or in
What did they say? Tell us. I don't know. What was the email?
Oh, there were a couple of them. Oh my gosh. People would be like, literally, I'm in studio and I'm wearing like a dress with probably this size sleeves or this size strap. So it's not spaghetti strap. A woman messaged me saying, if you could please wear sleeves on your arms, it would make us at home feel more relatable, able to relate to you. Also, it's cold outside. So I'm like,
I would be like,
man,
well,
this is a dress that goes down to my knees. And,
what did you do in that moment? Like, get vulnerable for a second and unpack that.
So this is something I'm really proud of myself. Early on, viewer emails would debilitate me. I'd go home, I'd cry, I'd like feel guilty. I got, and now it's like, okay, like, come on. And I was just actually talking about this with our meteorologist at the station yesterday, because think about the weather women who are in front of green screens head to toe. Everything is showing, how you look. If you're not feeling great one day, everything is on display. You're turning and you're on Monday through Friday multiple times. You've got to mix up those outfits. Like for me, I can be like, okay, I know I've got sidelines Tuesday. I know I'm in studio Wednesday and studio's chest up. So let's like mix up a fun blazer that maybe you wore 3 months ago and nobody's going to remember. But like weather woman, meteorologist, she's like, it's hard, like having the creativity with outfits too. And so I like to dress, and a lot of fashion rental services have been
popped up,
thriving, and like plug for Fashion Pass, because
she was
this is Fashion Pass right now. But they have work stuff. They have dresses that you can maybe wear out, but also be like, oh, I could do something with that on air, And so it's that's how I've been surviving. But you also don't want to lean. I mean, the fast fashion is hard too. Zara has great staples, but like when you have special moments, those are suit moments for me. But so that was
me too. I'm a good power suit.
Yes,
I love a good power suit.
Yes,
it makes me feel the kind of way. So
right,
I'm coming with it in full force.
I'm totally with you. Yeah. So that was like a bunch of like a wide answer to the closed question, but it's something I'm actively, what are we doing every day? It's like, oh my gosh.
And not letting people like whoever, the woman who emailed you, kind of like change your perspective or get upset about it. Kind of be like, all right, that's your problem, and kind of
exactly.
So it
sounds like an issue you need to work through on your own. Exactly. My old boss, he was great. He would like, I walked off set one day and he was like, what are you wearing? Like, it wasn't like scandalous. He was just like, your pinks don't match. Like, what? They're different materials. It just doesn't look great. And that's the type I was like, okay, like, I will not be pairing this together.
Thank you, Bob.
Yeah,
we noticed.
It was constructive, and he was actually a trendy guy. So but like, there are some people.
Well, I think it's so hard too for young girls, because fashion is all over the place.
Yes,
and sometimes dressing for a stage and age is more important than dressing for the occasion.
Yep.
Because it lives forever.
Yep.
And so I can always, like, for these young girls, when I see them or go speak at schools, it's like, okay, like, I could be hiring any single person today. I could look at you and be like, you're hired. Do not come in here in your pajamas, looking a hot mess.
How do you represent yourself?
Disheveled, not put together. Because if you don't respect yourself enough to show up in a professional setting, how can I hire someone and trust them to do it? And you never know who you're going to meet. But fast fashion is so hard, because it's like, I am not wearing what Beyonce is wearing.
Nope.
No chance. Zero. I mean, I could, but some people might be sending me some emails. Okay. They might be like, no, Kate, that's a big fat no. My team's like, someone go get her and turn all that off.
Yep.
Yeah, no, thank you. How do you help? What would you say to like a young girl that's like, hey, I want to get into this, being authentic to themselves, but also understanding the representation that they are of a network?
That is such a good question, because my thing is play it safe. You can be as fashion forward as you want to, but like, remember that I've literally had feedback on my reels before, or I had a great hit and someone, a mentor or someone considering me for a job, will be like, I was distracted by your earrings the whole time. And it's so I have learned that when you get these opportunities to represent yourself, a network, a team on camera, like the last thing you want is your, something you can control to derail that, right? And so I'm like, sometimes I have the fun flashy earrings. I'm like, oh my God, these would be so fun. And then I think to myself, do you want those to be the thing that
stands out the most?
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
No, you want your words and the way you carry yourself to be. So yeah, it's fun to be fashionable. I always use other women, and that's another great thing about social media too, seeing what other women are wearing. There's a time and a place for shoulders or one shoulder outfits and like I've had to learn you don't dress the same in studio that you do at NBA games or and so there's an art to it. But there is more creativity now, which is cool. You're not wearing blazers and pants to everything you do.
Yeah. Who have you fangirled over?
Oh my gosh, like other women or
both? Let's do
both.
Who did you fangirl over another woman, and then on a red carpet, who did you fangirl over?
Goodness. Okay.
And what did you do? Because I would be like,
yeah. Well, I think career-wise, early on, my first NBA game was Kobe Bryant's last road game, and I asked him a question, and it was like in a crowded press conference room, and I blacked out. Like, I was like...
It's like a reoccurring theme. Everyone's like, I just talk, and then I don't know what I said.
Yeah, right? And I was like... And that clip now for me is like one of the most special moments in my career, right? And I'm not even on camera, but I'm asking a question to the guy I grew up like, I'd say out of sports. Let's see, I'm gonna have to think a little bit more, but I did interview Jason Sudeikis at that time.
That's awesome.
Premiere, and like I was more blown away by the wit he had in his response without missing a beat, and I was like, this is why comedians are some of the most talented, people we get to be around. I feel like I've met a couple of other people, but who are more exciting answers. And then women specifically, like I remember early on meeting Doris Burke. She is, just an icon and a trailblazer in her own right. Yeah. And then I'll have to think of like really funny.
Who do you want to meet?
Who do I want to meet? Ooh, this is a good question.
Who do you want to meet? We're gonna see if we can make this happen on the couch.
Oh my gosh.
Or the red carpet. We're gonna red carpet.
I want to meet Taylor Swift.
T Swift?
Yeah.
Ask Erin. What are you doing? Ask Erin.
She set up Kelsey.
What are you doing?
I know, but see, I'm not even like Erin for me was like a meet cute.
Yeah.
I did Pilates next Erin.
I know. Where'd you go to Pilates?
You did sweat together. So like I think the barrier's down of like instant friendship.
I'm like, hey, here we go. Studio MTR.
That's where I go.
Oh my gosh, it's amazing. Let's do a class.
I know. Let's do it.
Yeah.
I love it. Okay, you can come.
I'll come. I'll be over there like, okay.
Yeah. Cheers, sweetie.
Erin, can we I'm only here to make sure she gets to meet Taylor. Like I will fall on the sword.
Right.
Like, let's do it.
Right.
Yeah. What has been one of the most challenging things you've covered?
I was called into the coverage. Do you remember the riots after the George Floyd
in Minnesota?
Yep. And in LA.
Yeah.
There was one that took over Santa Monica, and I was literally out on a beach walk, and my boss was like, "Can you just go see what's going on in Santa Monica?" So I'm wearing like head to toe workout clothes, like black workout clothes, or like I don't know, jacket on. And before I know it, what turned into like me just checking out a scene for my station, like was 8 hours of live coverage of stuff I don't know how to talk about, right? I didn't, and so it was so challenging, but it taught me like, oh, if you can hold your own in this setting and learn where, the humanity is in something like this, and you can talk about anything.
Well, that's powerful as a woman too, because I was actually in Minnesota. I had a guy who played for the Timberwolves, and when that happened, and I mean, they shut streets down. I remember being in like the hotel just watching.
Yep.
That has to be a little bit intimidating.
It's very
for
scary.
Being honest, for a woman to be in that setting. Was it just you? Did you have a crew? Like, what happened?
It was me and a photographer, and I had my producer team in my ear the whole time, and you also have people at the station watching everything that your camera's feeding back. I remember there was I was doing my first live hit, and they're firing off someone in the shut down street with the police in the riot gear was firing off fireworks, but it sounded like gunshots.
Oh my gosh.
And so I'm on a camera like jumping, and I've never covered anything comparable, right? So that was really intimidating. And then from like the first hit that night to like the one by 11 p.m., you know, I'm like a seasoned vet in the streets, like picking up the shells that they fire. And I'm like, this is what we've been dealing with. You get tear gassed out there. And so I really do in those situations thrive from the adrenaline rush too. It's hard to like use that word in that context, but the thrill of being on live TV covering something that everybody is watching is it's like 1 in a million.
Yeah. How fascinating is that? Of like, you're just like a full circle. Like, it's like I'm covering the Lakers one day and then I'm covering this. And it's like, there's no preparation in it. I think, you know, for you, your focus, what'd you graduate with your degree in?
Communication studies.
Communication studies. Do you feel like there's a specific skill that you wish you would have probably attached more towards or like leaned into a little bit more that you had to develop as you went, that if you had focused on it, it might have been a different path?
Right. It's so funny. Like, I totally finagled my way into my first job saying like, oh yeah, you know, I know how to stack shows and shoot on a camera. I knew none of that. I didn't know like editing, which now to me is like a second language of nonlinear editing. I think for anyone looking to break in, know how to edit, whether it's social media stuff, whether it's, you know, your packages you're putting together, know how to write. Writing is huge, especially for broadcast, as you're putting these, you know, you're trying to tell a story and you're trying to connect like these sound bites together in a meaningful way. And I think over the past 5 years at Spectrum, that's been something I've really like sharpened. But I would say, you know, to have those skills at the beginning would be obviously really, really helpful to anyone looking to break into.
That's fantastic. What advice would you give a younger you?
Stay present, right?
I was going to ask you that. It's you do so many things, and I always try and encourage Megan too. Of one of my biggest knocks in my career was not involving the people I love in what I do, because you can't explain it. Yeah, like telling them why you can't be at something. Yeah, they're like, yeah, okay, and I'm like, yeah, but like I really wish I could, but I have this going on. But allowing them to come along and see what you're doing, understand what your career is or your job is, then they celebrate you. So it's fearful to let them like, I'm bringing my best friend along, I'm bringing my friend along, my kid, my dad, whatever. But then it's like, they're so proud of you.
Right. Yeah.
Lean into it. Let them cheer you on. Don't be afraid to bring them along. It doesn't look bad.
And 1,000, like, I reflect on the journey I've had. And, you know, at the time I'd be like, get me out of Oklahoma City. I want to come home. I miss my family. I want to have Thanksgiving with my family. I want to go to my friends' birthdays. Like, everyone's in their 20s, like living it up in LA. And now that I'm here, which is something I always wanted, and guess what? I'm here and I still want more. And you never, like, I reflect on those days in Twin Falls, Idaho, and in Oklahoma City, and I'm like, I had so much fun. And the people and the friendships you make and meet out there, like, they're 1 in a million. And guess what? A lot of people don't get that. They stay put. They don't put them. And so I wish in those moments that instead of being frustrated or looking for what's next, I really just like
sat it.
And I don't regret anything. So I do think that I actually do a really good job of capitalizing every, you know, seizing the day wherever you go. But I think now that I look on it, it's like, just trust that it's all going to work out and enjoy where you're at, because it's a time and it's an adventure, right?
Yeah. What was the biggest challenge for you? Like, what's something you've had to overcome, whether that's based on gender, differentiator? Like, is there a moment in time where you're like, that was really hard for me, but I got through it?
Yeah. And I think like the imposter syndrome thing is something that can be debilitating to the point where you don't believe you're worthy of where you are. And then that, once you lose that essence, right, of like the belief in yourself, what are you doing, right? And especially when you're on air and you're projecting and you're trying to relate to people and be a storyteller, like if you lose that authenticity and that confidence, then it's worthless, like, right? So I think overcoming that from someone who is self-critical, who, you know, at all walks of life, like, you know, in high school, picking yourself apart or beating yourself up, it's like learning to let go of that and accept and celebrate yourself is something that I'm actively working on. So
I think we all are.
Yeah,
I
right?
think that's the beauty of it.
Yeah.
And when you can say I am, it'll give space for other people to realize they're struggling or they need help or they need to lean into you.
Exactly.
Right? Because if you don't raise your hand and say, I need somebody to lean in, 90% of the time, no one's going to lean in. Because you have all your shit together. Look at you living your best life. Oh my God, you're doing such cool shit. But we're all just people.
Yeah.
You know,
and we forget that the outward stuff, this post, the social media is such a highlight reel.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, you look like you've been killing it. No, I'm actually like unwell.
I'm going to use that. I'm unwell.
Could use a best friend call right now, or something, or like a pump up. But yeah, so.
I love it. I love it. Oh my gosh. Okay, well, we're going to wrap up our episode. We do this like, I know. I feel like you could be here.
We love having you on.
I know. She's going to be back. She's like, when are you guys filming next? She's gonna come sit here.
Like, can I just come hang? I'll be
I know.
I'm in the peanut gallery in the back.
Please, it's fine. It's fine. We would love it. Anytime.
Yes.
Welcome. We
Please.
love all our guests like that. I love it. Well, thank you so much for coming on our show.
Having me,
It's so
ladies.
fun.
This
We'll
is
have to have you back.
amazing. Yes.
So having girls cocktail night with Tina.
Yeah.
In our sweatsuits. In
Perfect.
here. Little
Perfect. Well,
kumbaya.
I'll pick different colors. You can be
We
red.
pick jelly beans.
Yeah.
There's-
Oh my gosh, I love it. Can they be juicy sweatshirts?
Yes, with
baby.
the Paris is gonna send them.
Yes.
Yeah. Love it. Well, thank you so much for sharing your story.
Thank you. This is
Amazing.
incredible.
Thank you.
Okay, Nikki Kay.
Y'all.
was amazing.
Y'all, what an episode.
I love her. I just think it was so cool. Like, I've heard about her journey for a while. She started in Twin Falls, Idaho. My parents are in Boise now. Like, it's just really cool that she was starting in such a small little town, went to Oklahoma City, and now she's covering the LA Lakers, the Dodgers, like literally the league's biggest sports teams. And that's so amazing. It just shows how passionate she is about her career and, where she started to where she is now.
Her energy was just off the charts.
Love it.
Like literally her energy, I just wish I could bottle it and take it with me.
Yeah.
Next time I need like a big champion, I'm about to be like, okay, Nikki Kay, I'm gonna need you to give me some of that today.
Mm-hmm.
But I love that she just is such a proponent of just living life to its fullest, taking every opportunity that's given to you, and really not getting stuck in your own way and pushing the boundaries of what you think you're capable of and what you're willing to learn to be capable of. And from her covering, whether that's sports or red carpet or news or the weather, like it is just her hemisphere of things that she can cover and speak to just makes her so relatable for every single person and for me too.
Right.
To be able to say, hey, this is outside my scope, but let me lean in and learn and understand how to do that was really great insight.
Yeah, and I think too, like I mentioned it to her earlier, but like everybody at NFL Network, she didn't even work at NFL Network, but like they sing her praises just because she has that reputation of always being so kind to other people. And I think from her point of view, she was editing, she was doing stand up by herself, she was cutting. I mean, she did it all. So she knows what it's like, and she just wants everybody to treat people with kindness. And I think for her to continue to celebrate and elevate other women and people in this industry is just so important.
No, it's a beautiful thing. It's we continue to have just such amazing women on this show, such inspiring stories, but even better people. And I think that's, I'm so grateful that we continue to be able to put this in homes and wherever you get your listening experience from. We appreciate you guys. Make sure you like, subscribe, comment, follow along, share. And we appreciate every single one of you that supports us here at Her Table. Until next time, we'll see you soon.